Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another session for the 2025 CLIA Global Cruise Line webinar series. We're excited to be joining you today with Silversea Cruises. My name is Johanna de Guzman, and I'm the Manager of Industry Relations for North American Travel Trade Membership here at CLIA. Before we dive into today's presentation, I want to quickly cover a few housekeeping items. We encourage you to engage actively by submitting your questions through the webinar's questions module, and if time permits, we will get to them at the conclusion of the presentation during the live Q&A session. For those of you who might miss today's live session or want to review the content later, this webinar is being recorded and will be available on CLIA's YouTube channel, CLIA Global. It is my pleasure to introduce your presenters, Kristin and Tim Am. Kristin is the Director of Expedition Sales for North Americas at Silversea Cruises. She joined Silversea in early 2004 after a successful tenure at, and excuse me for my pronunciation, Hurtigruten Expeditions, where she led sales efforts in Canada and national accounts across the Americas. With extensive experience in expedition cruising, Kristin brings a wealth of knowledge and passion for luxury adventure travel. She is dedicated to supporting Silversea sales and growth, working closely with trade partners to elevate the brand's presence in the expedition space. Tim Am, the Director of Expedition Sales at Silversea Cruises, where he worked since 2008. Beginning his career on board as an expedition leader, Tim has a deep passion for luxury expedition cruising. Originally from South Africa with a background in hotel and hospitality management, he has a broad experience in delivering unparalleled travel experiences to unique destinations such as Antarctica and the Galápagos. Tim combines his firsthand expedition knowledge with sales leadership to guide travelers towards unforgettable luxury adventure cruises. And with that, take it away, Tim and Kristin.
Thank you so much, Johanna. We really appreciate it. Love the opportunity to talk all about what we are both very passionate about. I'm thrilled for this opportunity, as I know Tim is. I'm going to get us started and take you through a little bit about who we are just as Silversea to help paint the picture for how this works into our expedition product. So we started as a small ship luxury cruise line just over 31 years ago. So really bringing a lot of that pioneering spirit into what it means to experience the world through the lens of intimate luxury ships. And really the goal at Silversea is to help our guests connect more deeply, more intimately with their destinations. And that is through, exceptional cuisine, through immersive shore excursions, through culture, through community, of course, through education, and that type of thing on the expedition side of things. So really, again, making sure that the destination is the focus and doing that with uncompromised comfort and luxury through Silversea. Now, we have grown significantly over the last few years. We are now 12 ships strong amongst the Silversea fleet. Our newest two ships, the Silver Nova and Silver Ray, really elevated a different design and approach to small ship luxury cruising with an asymmetrical look and feel that always gives our guests access to the destinations. So even if they're lounging by the pool, they've got fantastic views of the surrounding vistas of places like Italy or the mountains of Alaska. But today, Tim and I are going to take you through what our four smallest ships offer in the expedition space, and that is with Silver Wind, Silver Cloud, Silver Endeavor, and the Silver Origin. Now, without diving right into who we are as an expedition company, I just want to touch a little bit about the concept of expedition cruising. It is that opportunity to really connect with those remote, far reaches of the world through beautiful landscapes, wildlife, experiencing nature on nature's own terms, that opportunity to connect and learn from local culture, community, and of course, coming at it with an educational lens, really helping our guests further understand what they are seeing, what they are experiencing in these remote regions of the world. And we're going to share a quick little video from one of our expedition leaders, Marika Egan, and she just paints the picture so perfectly about what it means to enjoy an expedition cruise.
my name is Marike Egan and I'm the expedition leader. Leading expedition means that I'm responsible for all of the activities that we do outside of the vessel. But for me, it's mainly focusing on offering guests an amazing experience in those remote places and leading a team of 24 expedition staff in how to give that best experience to our guests. A big part of expedition cruising is teaching people about the environment. We have marine biologists on board, we have historians on board, ornithologists on board, so people have an in-depth knowledge on those topics. To share that passion with the guests and then get back that enthusiasm. Yeah, it's a very highly dynamic, highly intense environment, but also extremely rewarding. I love living a little bit in uncertainty sometimes. It makes you feel incredibly alive. There's parts of the world where we don't dictate anything, and we have to work with what nature gives us. The entertainment is not on board, it's outside. And I always, or nearly always, say to the guests, look around you, because that is something that is like nowhere else on Earth. It is unique. Embrace the unknown, that is how you will get the best experience.
I love the sentiment behind that statement, embrace the unknown, because that is exactly what expedition is all about. It's going with the flow, embracing Mother Nature, and really taking advantage of those incredible, wildlife opportunities as they happen unplanned. Now, when we talk about the pillars behind Silversea Expeditions, it really is narrowed down to a few different things. So we have our pioneering spirit that we started 31 years ago and introduced to the expedition landscape just over 17 years ago. And what that means is, prior to that, there wasn't always a luxury offering. If you were wanting to go to a place like Antarctica or the Arctic, it was maybe ships with less frills, less comforts, less inclusions, less amenities. So that opportunity again to put our mark on what we were doing within the expedition space and adding that to the luxury expedition concept. So continuing from that, we have invested in new destinations, new ways to see and innovate, and really you'll see some of that innovation all throughout different parts of the world that we are taking our guests to explore. Now, when we come to a ratio perspective, when we're talking about luxury, we talk about it from an on-ship perspective based on crew to guest ratio, space to guest ratio, but we're going to talk a little bit about what the ratios mean in the expedition landscape for off-ship delivery. And one thing Silversea really prides itself on is taking into consideration the entire journey. We like to call it from door to explore. So not just focusing on what our guests are doing on the ship, and the day-to-day activities happening off the ship, but how are our guests getting to and from the destination and making sure it is living up to our guests' expectation and following the Silversea way for our luxury clients. Now, when we look at the inclusions from an on-ship perspective, like you would expect on our classic ships, all of those fantastic amenities carry through to our expedition products. So all ocean view suites, most with private veranda, personalized butler service, no matter what suite category you're in. You can enjoy in-suite dining. You can enjoy, of course, a variety of restaurants and beverages all throughout the ship as well. Your included gratuities, your Wi-Fi. But a lot of the magic happens, what's happening off the ship and pre and post. So we recognize that for guests getting to and from these really remote destinations, sometimes there can be some anxiety behind it. How am I getting to these places? And not to worry, Silversea takes care of those details. So any operationally required charter flights, pre or post hotel transfers, right down to luggage handling, that is part of the Silversea ecosystem for when your guests are going to enjoy an expedition with us. Now, when we talk about charter flights, for example, it is delivered in that Silversea way. So think 2x2 configuration or blocked middle seats to make sure it's comfortable, elevated food and beverage on board, a flight concierge to make sure that our guests are taken care of. Again, all within that landscape of the luxury lens. Now, when we talk about in destination off the ship with our expedition product, of course, all of your off-ship exploration comes included, right down to things like our kayaking program and certain expedition gear. And this is used to help get our guests ready and prepared for their expedition. Now, no matter where our guests are traveling with us in the world, with all of our expeditions, they'll get the Silversea Expedition backpack, reusable water bottle, and of course, we'll kit them out in all of the appropriate kayaking gear. So even if they're in the polar regions with us, we'll make sure they get the proper pogie mitts, the boots, the polar dry suit. Now, when we are in those polar regions, they will have the dual layer Silversea Expeditions parka. That is also a great souvenir for them to take home. It's an inner layer thermal system and a wind waterproof layer on top. Can be worn together, can be zipped apart and worn separately. So perfect for a lot of the conditions that we experience throughout the multi-destinations that we're in. Now, we do also give our guests the opportunity to have the boots done through us as well. Again, just to ease the transition of getting to some of these polar regions and one less thing that they need to worry about packing in their suitcases. In our warm weather destinations, a lot of places we do have the opportunity to snorkel. So we will take care of the mask and the snorkel for our guests. And particularly in the Galápagos Islands, because it is a year-round destination with us, and the opportunity to do deep water and beach snorkel all year round, our guests are given the use of our wetsuits as well. So the 2mm shorties, just to make it that little bit of extra level and comfort when they are snorkeling in these incredible regions of the Galápagos. Now, going back to experience ratios. So what matters in the off-ship delivery for expedition is the size of your expedition team and the size of your Zodiac fleet, because this is going to determine how much time your guests are able to spend off-ship. And the goal at Silversea is to maximize our guests' experience in the destination, because we recognize they may go to these places once in their life. So we want to make sure that they have as much time off ship experiencing the destination through multiple activities as possible, which is why we staff our ships with some of the largest expedition teams in the industry and some of the largest Zodiac fleets in the industry. So we can have all guests simultaneously off ship, immersed in a variety of activities at the same time. Now, also along with that, comes a different look of how we can approach a destination. So there's the opportunity to do Zodiac cruising, to do different levels of hikes, to of course experience the locals, whether that be wildlife or whether that be in human form, no matter where we are in the world. But because of that large expedition team, we can tailor and personalize those activities as well, because we recognize that not every guest comes on an expedition with the same physical ability. So we have that opportunity to offer the lighter, shorter walk, maybe a nature walk with one of our naturalists, a longer hike, a higher hike. Maybe it's beach snorkel instead of deep water snorkel, or maybe it's just going out for a Zodiac cruise if that's your comfort level. So that's what we're able to do because of the team that we have on each of our vessels. And I love this video because it just sort of shows some of the basic physicality that's needed to enjoy an expedition. The ability to walk up and down a flight of stairs, and also the ability to sort of twist your body to be able to get on and off a Zodiac when we are on land as well. So kind of great starter points if you are having a first conversation with a new guest that you're introducing to expedition. Now, when we look at expedition from a destination standpoint, now Silversea as a cruise line actually travels to more destinations than any other cruise line. And within our 4 expedition ships, we can actually take you to all 7 continents. So we can keep your guests very busy in the expedition ecosystem with Silversea. Now, our main focus and time spent throughout the world is in these 4 key regions. So Antarctica, we have 3 ships that are down there every southern hemisphere summer. 2 of those ships would then transition up to the north for our Arctic season. 1 ship we have dedicated in the Galápagos Islands all year round. And then Silver Cloud, once she has done her time in Antarctica, she sort of lives her life at the bottom of the world and enjoys some incredible repositioning cruises and grand voyages through parts of the South Pacific before spending some of her season in Northwest Australia, which is the Kimberley, one of my new favorite destinations and something Tim will touch on a little bit later in the presentation. But if we kick off with Antarctica as a destination focus, now Silversea offers our guests 2 different ways to travel down to Antarctica. And we do all of our operation on the Chilean side. So we start our guests with a pre-night in Santiago at a luxury hotel before we do a Silversea private charter down to Puerto Williams, where we can either sail your guests across the Drake Passage, or starting in January 2026, with our new operation out of Puerto Williams, we can fly your guests across the Drake Passage. Now, the flight across the Drake Passage is definitely for that person who is really interested in, shortening the amount of time that they are away, because we recognize that the journey down to Antarctica, it can be a long one. It can definitely, require a certain length of time. Some people just don't have that opportunity to get away for longer than a 2-week period. So the Fly Cruise opportunity gives our guests that chance to shorten, do about an 11-day trip without losing the time in Antarctica. They'll still get those 6 full days there, but enjoy a shorter journey getting to and from. Now, one of the other benefits of the Fly Cruise with Silversea is that opportunity to skip over the Drake Passage. So for any clients that might have fears of seasickness or, just general fear of sailing the Drake, because we all know TikTok or social media does a great idea of, painting the fears of the worst possible place to sail. Fly Cruise is another great way to help them overcome those fears and introduce them still to Antarctica just by skipping over the Drake. So rather than a 2-day sailing on either end, it is condensed to an hour-and-a-half flight. Now, an amazing thing that we have done as part of this journey for the Fly Cruise program is, believe it or not, Silversea is building the southernmost hotel in the world in Puerto Williams, Chile. And I'm going to start you off with just a few words from our president about why we decided to do this and what this new sort of gateway to Antarctica will look like with Silversea.
We're going to open up a part of the world that is so difficult to explore and has so much to offer. Building at the bottom of the earth is very difficult.
I have never done anything like this before.
I have worked on some complex projects, all of them pale in comparison to this.
Well, we like a challenge.
What we are trying to do as a brand is allow guests to explore and discover the world and do it in uncompromised comfort and luxury.
Antarctica is one of Silversea's flagship programs.
It allows guests to really experience the continent in a deeper, more immersive way.
Going to Antarctica is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
It deserves to be visited, but it's a very difficult journey. It's very hard to get there.
Therefore, we reimagined the entire journey and we looked for opportunities to cut the journey shorter.
We realized that there was an opportunity to really enhance the pre-cruise experience.
The destination drove the decision.
And that's when we came up with the idea of
building the most southern hotel in the world.
All right, so cut off there a little bit, but what we are introducing is, again, the southernmost hotel on Earth, the Cormorant at 55 South. So this hotel is 150 rooms, and it is perched in a beautiful location overlooking the Beagle Channel. And as you can see from the design, we've worked in a lot of the surrounding natural elements of the destination into the hotel decor, design, and really just to help make what is a necessary pre and post part of the operation now part of the experience, part of the destination immersion, as one included pre-night and one included post-night of our Fly Cruise experience. So guests will be able to enjoy staying at this hotel, all-inclusive food and beverage, and the idea behind, taking them hiking, taking them out in our kayaks, taking them bird watching to fully immerse themselves in the destination before the following day we fly them down to King George Island, where they embark on the expedition of a lifetime down to Antarctica. So definitely, if you have clients thinking about Antarctica, please reach out to us. We'd love to share some of the insights about the benefits of the Fly Cruise program with Silversea Expeditions. Now, once our guests are in destination, whether they've sailed the Drake, whether they've flown the Drake with us, there's fantastic opportunity, of course, to enjoy the amazing, snow and ice and wildlife that's available down here, from the penguin species, available to us on the peninsula, your gentoos, your adeles, your chin straps, so many different, seal species, whale species as well. Just again, a fantastic opportunity for wildlife viewing. It really is an incredible place to see and experience this. And again, if you need assistance on, what part of the season and why to go down to Antarctica, please connect with us, because we can help you decipher, when is the better time to see whales or penguin chicks, things like that. We'd love to walk you through, both you and your clients, the opportunity of best time for them to go down to a place like Antarctica. Now, we also do feature longer itineraries in this destination. So going outside of the peninsula, if your guests have an interest in experiencing the Falkland Islands or further out to the sub-Antarctic region of South Georgia, this helps increase their wildlife bucket lists as well. And I think from a penguin species perspective, it's definitely a highlight for our guests, that opportunity to see the king penguin, where some of the sites, as you can see, literally have them in the hundreds of thousands. So a unique opportunity. And hey, maybe if your client is going to go down to this part of the world and only experience it once, maybe they do one of the longer journeys that includes this amazing wildlife encounter. I mean, Tim, I know this is one of your favorites as a former expedition leader.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always, we often get asked this question in our line of work. If, you could pick anywhere in the world, or what's your favorite destination? And South Georgia is almost always up there. But to be fair, one of the other sort of truly incredible parts of the world that has so many of its own unique, I'll call them identities or ways to approach it, is definitely the Arctic. And I think when we talk about the Arctic, it's worth recognizing a few differentiators. One, the Antarctic industry or seasonality is almost entirely centered on the peninsula, which is situated just south of South America. Whereas as a region, Arctic is far broader in terms of its approach and the areas that we visit with guests. So we'll start with the Norwegian Arctic and how that manifests from a guest experience, primarily focused on Svalbard, or the island of Spitsbergen that makes up the Norwegian archipelago. Then as the season progresses and sea ice retreats, we start making our way across to the Greenlandic coastline, predominantly on the western side, where the communities and cultural elements are strongest, across to the Canadian Arctic, including Baffin Island. We've got a trip this year all the way through the Northwest Passage, finishing in Nome, Alaska, as well as later season trips up to an area known as Northeast Greenland, the largest national park in the world, Scoresbysund, the world's largest, deepest, longest fjord system, making everything in Norway, Chilean fjords, Norwegian fjords sort of pale in comparison, and truly a wonderful part of the world. But I'm going to try and sort of systematically break these areas down just to help you with the understanding of the unique differences or nuanced experiences that you would expect in each of these. And I'll start with probably my favorite Zodiac cruise in the world. You can see sailing through the sea cave here. This is a destination called Bear Island. It's visited on the northbound and southbound sailings from Norway up to Svalbard. Dotted on the cliffs are hundreds and thousands of these guys that we see pretty much throughout the Arctic, but these are your guillemots and your kittiwakes. Anywhere where you see white, if it's not snow, you know what it is. And anywhere where you have bird cliffs across the Arctic, you're looking for these guys. So your little Arctic foxes, they go through a bit of a molt come mid-season as they lose some of their winter furs. But in general, when we're talking about Svalbard, when we're talking about that archipelago, we're talking about a wildlife haven. There's only one real main sort of town or community called Longyearbyen, and a few smaller coal mining towns and research centers. But beyond that, the archipelago is left as a nature reserve for the iconic and often endemic species found there, such as the Svalbard reindeer. But a very sort of typical view of this area, particularly on the south, it gets its name from the Dutch word meaning pointy mountains, so Spitsbergen, your glacier valley coming down to your nice carving face or terminus, a little bit of the tundra environments that you can see there, 170 odd plant species to be found here. We spend a lot of time out in Zodiacs. Think safari, think about going out, looking for the wildlife, exploring, taking in these incredible high Arctic or polar scenery and ice conditions. But obviously, one of the main attractions is the polar bear. And this is where we're primarily looking for them along the sea edge. That's where they hunt. That's their primary feeding platform as we explore the northern parts of the archipelago. Now, as we jump across to Greenland, the only ice sheet in the northern hemisphere, so this is the only place where you really get those Antarctic-esque size icebergs, and Greenland really is a cultural and a scenic destination. These iconic little towns and communities with the beautiful colored houses. This is very typical of what we'd expect as we explore the coastline of Greenland, and the ability to meet and interact with the locals, understand why they still keep dog teams and how important they are to their survival and transportation in an island community with over 50,000 people, with I think only about 10 miles of roadway throughout the entire island. But from a scenic perspective, think of this. This is Ilulissat or Disco Bay. You've got some tiny little people here in scale. This is the most active carving glacier up there. So truly monstrous size. They say this is where the iceberg that sank the Titanic would have broken off from the ice sheet and drifted down into the Labrador Sea. As we make our way across that Labrador Sea into the Canadian Arctic, think monumental landscapes and probably the most expeditionary of environments as we go out and explore. I love this image just showing a couple of the Zodiacs out and about exploring areas in the lower Franklin and Savage Islands. This is where we're again looking for wildlife with slightly different regulations and limitations on how close we can get to them. But one of the best opportunities to get a great combination across all of those core common principles that Kristin spoke about in terms of the cultural elements, wildlife, and scenic components as we go out and explore. Now, as we look at those sort of four core pillars of regional deployment, I think the Galapagos is really a worthwhile one to spend a little bit of time on. Ironically, it's not one that we need help selling because it is such an incredible product. But I think from its ability to position and allow people to enter into this ecosystem of expedition travel. Now, one of the core pillars that Kristin spoke about in the beginning is our door to explore, or how we go beyond just aiming to facilitate an incredible cruise experience. And this is really sort of manifested in the Galapagos with 2 pre-night hotel stays in the JW Marriott in Quito, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the capital of Ecuador, before even starting this program, which is a departure from Quito by private charter flight exclusive for Silversea guests out to the islands, where they embark on the incredible Silver Origin for an incredible 7 intensive days in the Galapagos before the return flights to Quito. Now, the Galapagos is not a destination that I feel like I really need to introduce people to. It's very well known. So it's really about positioning our vessel as the premium product to go and explore the destination. The first thing I'll point out is she is purpose-built exclusively for this destination, and at no point is any vessel in the Galapagos docked alongside a pier. This has biosecurity implications to make sure that we're not moving species between islands, but it does mean that from a design and operational concept, seeing how seamlessly one transitions from the Zodiac into the main sort of waiting area or foyer of the origin is really just indicative of how well she is designed to deliver this destination. Now, we have an exclusive partnership with the Royal Geographic Society of London. So some of the artifacts in these display cases were actually on the HMS Beagle when Darwin visited these islands, which is just a wonderful element to emphasize our focus on that educational and enrichment purpose of the destination. Now, when we talk about the product, maximum capacity in the Galapagos is 100 passengers, but this vessel truly is the creme de la creme of ways to go out and explore. This is as bad as it gets. That back window turns into a balcony. I don't often include too many visuals of bathrooms and suites, but this is really the entry level for this destination. Now, the Galapagos is obviously known for its iconic and endemic species, your Galapagos penguin, both the land and marine iguanas, things like the blue-footed boobies, and of course your giant tortoises. But what really makes the Galapagos such a unique destination is its duration and accessibility from the North American market, and the fact that we get about 70% of our guests as new to cruise or new to brand for us. So visiting an expedition product for the very first time. Now, as Kristin mentioned, products like the Arctic and Antarctic as well have this ability to enter people into our ecosystem, and then we as a brand have more destinations to take them than anyone else in the cruising industry. The Galapagos also serves through a very busy program with morning and afternoon activities, generally butted in the middle by some water activities, as an incredible multi-generation destination. I love the acronym SKI, Spend the Kids Inheritance. This is where grandparents can take their kids not to Disneyland, but to see the real wildlife and head out and explore in the singular top performing product in our entire portfolio. Now, one of the other parts of the world or destinations that I'd really love to introduce, not because it's most likely to be a first sell, but because of its ability to really broaden your mindset on thinking about expedition beyond the polar environments. And it is a part of the world known as the Kimberley. The Kimberley sits in this region here in northwestern Australia, as one of the most inaccessible tropical coastlines in this world. And from a product, from a delivery perspective, I must tell you, as a South African, it almost pains me to talk so passionately about it. But after working for 2 seasons here, I truly did fall in love. This is one of these iconic images that you would expect from the Kimberley. This is the Twin Falls on the King George River, and you can see our fleet of Zodiacs out and about exploring and taking in this destination. Known for all manner of different things, but Australia obviously incredibly well known for its unique fauna and flora. Endemic to the region, these are some of the little rock wallabies that you could look for and explore as you're cruising up the incredible sandstone river mouths and channels that we're exploring. I will point out, however, we don't have much in the way of water activities because it is also home to some of the largest saltwater crocodiles in the world, but we do definitely head out in the Zodiacs as we explore these mangrove forests and swamps along some of the riverine estuaries, looking for not only the crocodiles, but a number of different turtles, shark species, manta rays, and of course the iconic bird life that is found in Australia. So, I've covered the scenic elements, absolutely spectacular, definite tick there. Australia known for all of its unique marsupials, wildlife, and the saltwater crocodiles. So we've got a wildlife tick, but what about culture? And it certainly doesn't disappoint there. The ability to take our guests to stand right under some of these incredible rock art styles found here and nowhere else in the world, known as, there's 2 specific styles here, known as the Wajna and the Guion style of rock art. Some historians dating it back in the region of 40,000 years old. But it's not just about sitting in these incredible caves looking up at this rock art. We also have incredible welcome to country ceremonies conducted by the traditional caretakers of the land, Aboriginal people, who talk to us about living here, about the meaning of the rock art and the significance of our visitation, to really bring that full sort of impact and circle into effect. And as a bonus, we've got the wildlife, we've got the scenery, we've got the culture. The Kimberley is also known to have some of the most unique tidal phenomenons anywhere in the world. This particular destination is called Montgomery Reef, and Sir David Attenborough, one of my personal childhood heroes, called it his seventh natural wonder in the world. And you can see here sort of the drying of the reef and these little riverine tributaries that seem to be forming. But essentially what happens is, as the tide falls, it looks like the reef is rising out of the water, like some mysterious UFO spaceship. And we go and explore these little riverine tributaries as they're draining off, looking for wildlife, the bird life coming in, turtles, again, sharks and things like that. So yes, definitely a wonderful part of the world to explore. Combinations of trips up into Indonesia, going to places like Komodo for the dragons and Pink Beach, or all the way across into Papua New Guinea, Solomons, Fiji, Vanuatu, through to French Polynesia. Just a wonderful warm weather destination and part of the world that can only amplify the general expedition traveler's experience beyond the polar regions. Now, looking at that guest, hopefully we've done a good job of exciting you about some of the possibilities in the world of expedition travel, just to help you narrow in on who that client is and how you can find and approach them. The expedition product within Silversea has a slightly younger demographic than our classic product, and that's largely driven by those multi-generational travelers. It is worth, as a benchmark, keeping in mind the shorter in duration a cruise is, the younger the age demographic is going to skew, because it obviously has the ability to appeal to family travelers. We talk about highly educated couples and families. I love that it says females with high net worth, because I know my wife plans my holidays. But I think what we're really looking at here is travelers with an adventurous mindset. They've potentially been on safari or done other high-end FIT programs in the Middle East, in Asia, in Europe. And they're looking for access to these incredible parts of the world that you can't really facilitate in any other way. It's ironically as much for the avid cruiser who's been to the Caribbean and the Med and Alaska as it is for the non-cruiser who never wants to go to any other cruise ship experience, but they want access to these unique and unattainable destinations but any other way than expedition product. It's also worth just pointing out that we as a brand, in our own sort of understanding of those core drivers, recognize differences between the client's unique drivers when looking at our classic and our expedition product. And the expedition product's unique drivers are centered on the off-ship expedition experience. It's about the destination and how, as Kristin pointed out, some of the largest expedition teams and fleets of Zodiacs facilitate that incredible off-ship experience in destination to go out and see the destinations that we're visiting. And we point that out because although often we have clients jump between the classic and expedition product, they are looking for different things between them. And sometimes, or not sometimes, all the time, putting the right client on the right product is where we get the most success. Other sort of selling points or areas that we want to lean in on in this expedition space are understanding that we have some really attractive group programs. And why this is so important is it could be as low as 4 couples with the 8th person traveling for free. So 7 paying guests, the 8th goes free. This isn't suites, this is really on guests. So please, this could really just be 2 family groups that are looking to travel together. Chat to your area sales director or reach out to us at Silversea to understand what that group policy can be for your individual travelers as we look at different regions and deployments within our portfolio. Also, please, if you're looking to enter into this world of expedition, we are part of the the Royal Caribbean family, which means we have status match across all of our brands. So if you have loyal Royal Caribbean or celebrity clientele that have excelled extensively and earned their rewards with those brands, they get recognition when they transfer to the Silversea family. And it's a great way, to maybe look at the evolution of the client's lifestyle and travel history as they progress through the brands into the smaller ship, more luxury experience that Silversea offers. We also, as a brand, really want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to help you in your travel and sales journey. And to do that, I would highly recommend, if you haven't already got it, bookmarking this place. This is Marketing Central, where you will find all of our assets. That is everything from ship assets, destination assets, meaning photos, videos, some of the incredible imagery that we've shared today, to our itineraries, brochures, and additional selling tools. Some of the other core assets or tools that we like to provide you in that there is the Silver Academy. This is broken down into both classic and expedition. They're really nice, easily digestible 12-minute modules, and you can dive into the broader theme of what expedition is or destination specific. So if you have someone who's interested in going to Galapagos, just tap in, do the Galapagos module. It'll take you a few minutes, but it'll really position you in a way to understand our product, our differentiators, and how we approach delivery in these destinations. Another great tool to be able to use and leverage is one called Approach Guides. This is 100% free for you as advisors. We as the company pay for the cost, but what it is an opportunity to white label our content, white label our website with your own photo, with your own brand name, with your own call to action, so you can feel confident sharing our incredible resources directly with the consumer, without the fear that they'll come back to us in our direct channels, but rather any of that gets funneled back to you with a query page saying, oh, I saw this seems really interesting. So a great way to leverage the content that we provide to you in a white label way. So please use Approach Guides. It takes about 5 minutes to set up. Really, really simple. And a complement to that is what we call Rallyo. This is your set it and forget it, your auto scheduled pre-made social media posts. So we go ahead, create all of this incredible content, and it allows you to automatically post it to either your Facebook, in LinkedIn, or Instagram, and you can set to the cadence, the area of focus that you want to do, just to help you with that social media awareness. Now, it would be a miss of me to say that we're not here to make money. Of course we are. That's why we're in this industry. So just a reminder on that. In the expedition space, we typically, even amongst our own portfolio of classic and expedition, talk about a 60% premium on the expedition product. So you can do a third of the work to make twice the money, which is obviously incredible. But that compounds even further in the fact that you automatically get an additional 1 percentage point commission kicker on the expedition product. And if it's new to Silversea or a new to repeater, so the second time that they come back, that is also an additional 1%. So please, we will never be your cheapest option when you're quoting us, and neither do we want to be, but it's because we want to have this incredible value proposition. We include so much more, be it the flights, the hotels, which is all part of that commissionable fare for you, and we are not selling anything on ships to our guests. So please make sure that when you're presenting us, you're bringing forward that value proposition, that guests are not going to be leaving with a bill at the end of the cruise experience. And then finally, from our side, Kristin and I have had a bit of an opportunity to introduce ourselves and focus on our role in bringing this incredible expedition product to life for you. But please, we have an incredible team of area sales directors out there. If you don't know, Marketing Central is where you will find that information to reach out to your local area sales director. But most importantly, please recognize that our role is subject matter experts. We are here to facilitate as intermediaries between you and your clients to truly help them understand the product and destination and how we deliver. Kristin said if they want to know about seasonality down in Antarctica and when there's penguin chicks and when they're big and fluffy and chasing the parents around, or whales, or time of year in the Galápagos. So please feel free to reach out to us for any of those elements. Now, I'm going to play out with one quick little video, and then we'll go to a thank you and Q&A slide. But this is just, hopefully to sum it up. We live on such an incredible planet. I think looking at our 26-27 deployment and some of these incredible parts of the world visually should be enough motivation to get you started in this journey of selling expedition. Okay, so that is my conclusion, and thank you so much for your time and attendance. Thanks for the hearts, S. Golden. I'm going to try and look and see if I can find the question box. I see there might be a hand raised, but if there is anything that comes to mind, anything that we can try and address from a product perspective, we'd absolutely love to do. I see 2 hands raised. I don't really know how to engage or acknowledge the question, but there's Batia. I see a thumbs up. Thank you. But yeah, please, sorry.
Yeah, I can help you out, Tim. So
perfect.
First,
thank you
for your time and Kristin's time spending this afternoon with our advisors. I know a lot of them are putting in the chat amazing content. We love Silversea. We love Rallyo. So you guys are doing an incredible job, and having these webinars definitely is the support that we love to see our brands giving our CLIA members. So thank you for that, Tim. But just to kick off our Q&A session, for those who might be new to the Silversea brand, if this is something that they are now interested in after knowing and learning about everything you guys have to offer, could you just tell them or give them the link of where they can take the training modules that you all offer so that they can really be experts at Silversea?
Yeah, absolutely. So silversea.com is our sort of homepage. On there, and I don't know if I can paste it, but I'll try paste it into the question box in a second. There is our Marketing Central or Travel Advisor portal, and that is where you will find all of the content from us, from all of the incredible video assets, the Academy. That's where you also find our Travel Advisor rates. We all recognize that there is, you sell what you sail, if you're familiar with the product. So please, our Travel Advisor rates update, I think it's about once weekly or maybe every 2 weeks. Some of them are for instant confirmation. So please, if you're looking to get on our product, highly recommend that you do that. And Marketing Central is where you get access to all of our digital assets that I mentioned.
Great. And for those agents who might already have an account, if they're having issues logging in, creating an account, or accessing anything in there, Tim, who should they be contacting?
Yeah, so that is all driven through our inside sales team, and that is the email insidesales@silversea.com. They will be able to help if there's any challenges in getting into we call it My Silversea.
Great.
Thank you, John. I see you posting all these. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. That's why I'm here to help you guys. And so just moving on, I know that you shared tons of information about the different locations and places that Silversea sails, we do have a very interesting question, but I think it'd be good for our advisors to know this piece. For those more remote locations that Silversea sails to, could you just talk about protecting those areas, what Silversea does to make sure that those areas stay the way that they are, so that the sailor or the cruisers who come after them can experience the same beautiful, untouched location?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a very valid and pertinent question as we look at the general impact of our space. The first thing I'll say on a high level, being part of the Royal Caribbean Group, we have a lot of our own environmental and social governance laws that dictate our ability to responsibly operate. I think it's worthwhile recognizing that, we as a brand know that this is where we make our money. This is our sort of backyard, and doing everything that we can to responsibly visit them is obviously pertinent to our future success. But on sort of the next level down from that, we are and have been integral members. I was on the panel on the board at IECO, which is the Arctic version, and then there's an Antarctic version. So they are the International Association of Antarctic Tour Operators and Arctic Expedition Cruise Operators. So these are the, let's call them tourism boards or organizations that are put in place to ensure that we as an industry are abiding by certain rules and regulations about how we visit and interact with these destinations. As I said, Silversea over the number of years has had leadership positions across both of those organizations for the pure focus of ensuring that we're helping steer the industry in an appropriate way to deliver tourism as socially responsibly as possible. Other parts of the world like the Galápagos, probably one of my favorite examples of a destination that has taken tourism and embraced it from its ability to absolutely enhance the life and experience of the Galapagos, the local people living there, as probably the best demonstration of the benefits that ecotourism or tourism in general can have on a destination. Something I can talk on for probably a whole nother hour, but I think just important to recognize that we definitely take this very, very seriously and focus on that as an important part of our product and our delivery.
Super, super great work. Thank you, Tim, for you answered the question perfectly. So hopefully our advisors can take that back and assure their clients.
Can I just, sorry, I
go ahead.
Want to give you one little sort of anecdotal story. So the Galapagos, obviously we know, very unique for its speciation and everything like that. Every single one of our light bulbs on the outer decks of our vessel is coated in a special reflective coating to prevent moths being drawn to the light bulbs, so that we're not transmitting them across the different islands. So if that kind of gives you an indication of how seriously we take that, I hope that might sort of bring into life how important this is for us as a topic.
Yeah, definitely attention to detail, right? And that's something that I would have never even thought of. Oh yeah, a moth will follow that light and will migrate to another island that you guys are sailing to. So very cool. And thank you for sharing that story. And I know that this whole presentation has been about your expeditions, right? Yeah. So could you speak about the accessibility of those expeditions for someone who may have a wheelchair or may have accessibility needs like a walker or just extra assistance or just need extra time? Like how would our advisors go about ensuring that their clients have the same expedition experience that any other person would?
Yeah, I think one of the first points on that is the size of our team. We are industry leading across some of what I consider the core metrics that are responsible for delivering the product and the destination. So when you're looking at the shipboard product, it's your crew to guest ratio, your space to guest ratio, but the tools that Kristin focused on as your expedition staff and your Zodiacs in terms of the off-ship delivery is how guests are interacting with the destination. So I think that the size of our team and our fleet obviously means that we recognize that no two guests are the same. They have varying physical abilities and sort of interest levels in different topics and themes. And that the concept behind that is meeting our guests where they are. Yes, I've had people in wheelchairs come on board, and we've managed to get them off the ship and down and out and about in Antarctica. It is very important to recognize that safety of our guests is always going to be, the first and foremost priority in terms of how we're delivering the expedition product. But we will, wherever possible, do whatever we can. We have plenty of sailors and seamen available to assist getting on and off the Zodiacs and things like that. I will always say we'll do what we can. There's within the limitations of safety and making sure that we're delivering an efficient operation. But, if guests need a little bit extra time, just to wait until the main disembarkations happen and then come down and go at their own pace so that they're not feeling hurried and things like that.
Perfect. So it sounds like everyone can join and everyone, is included with Silversea. So that's lovely to hear. And I think I really liked that line that you said where you're meeting your clients where they are. That's perfect. Yeah. You're not turning them away, and you're just making sure that their vacation, is everything that they want to experience. So that's lovely. And we do have a few minutes here, Tim. We have about 5 minutes left. So I want to just give you time to maybe leave our advisors with a tip that you have, or, any advice that you can give them for maybe how to get, because you guys are part of that Royal Caribbean family, right? How would you get a client that is used to just sailing Royal? How would you transition them to now experiencing something very different like Silversea, but within that group that they're comfortable in, that brand family that they're comfortable in?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just recognizing, and I say this quite broadly speaking, but looking at the expedition industry, there's certain sort of flagship products that have an incredible ability to enter people into the world of the world of expedition, and then that ecosystem beyond it. So I use the percentage of about 70% of our clients in the Galápagos are coming from new to brand or new to cruising. But as you break down that statistic even further, we get about 30 to 40% of those clients coming sort of directly from the Alaska product on some of the larger cruise ship operators. So similar to our Royal or Celebrity products, or others like Princess and Holland, they're typically probably staying in some of the upper suite categories, but they had the best experience on the glaciers or on a whale watching tour or something like that. So using a product like the Galápagos and like the Antarctic, which are these key bucket list destinations that people really want to go to, and having the brand familiarity of knowing that it's levels of service and expectation, it's in the same family. I hate to point it out as bluntly as this, but we're operating in one of the most challenging, hard to get to environments in the world when we're down in Antarctica, and you want to know that you're with a partner, with an operator that has the resources. If there is something that goes wrong, they not only have the resources, but they have the experience, they have the knowledge and the background on how to deal and manage with that. And I'll put it as bluntly as this: the Royal Caribbean Group is the largest in terms of valuation hospitality company in the world. It is definitely got the ability to look after our guests no matter where we are in the world, from a safety and in the case of an emergency perspective. Sorry, I probably segued a little bit off there. I think focusing on products that are key niche destinations that are already in the consumer mindset. You can talk about Antarctica, and less than 0.01% of the population will probably ever get to go there. About 150,000 people will probably go there in this coming season. So that's the 25-26 Antarctic season. That number has grown dramatically since 2008. About 32,000 people went there. But the drive that is being created by social media, and my friends went there, I want to get to go and explore. As you see products like that, the demand is inherently there, but understanding that as partners, as advisors in the travel community, you're not trying to sell a one-off experience. You're trying to create a client that's going to stay with you for a lifetime. And as a brand, the ability that we then have to transfer them beyond, a simple one-off experience, but introducing new destinations and a broader portfolio to keep them in that family is a very strategic thinking in terms of how we as a company build and facilitate our fleet. Hope I kind of answered that.
No, you answered it perfectly, Tim. The way that you speak about Silversea and the product that you guys promote and really push out, you speak so passionately, so knowledgeable about it. And I just can't thank you enough for sharing all of this information with our advisors. I know that you are a very busy individual there at Silversea, and so just spending this time with our advisors is very valuable to them. And if you want to just close out, we've got about a minute left, and then we will hopefully see everybody on the next webinar.
Absolutely, and just because I saw one comment or question in the text box, can I join you on consumer presentations? Absolutely, that is 100% the role that Kristin and I aim to facilitate in the company. So we support all of our inside and area sales directors purely with product knowledge and destination experience to help bridge that gap. It's very evident that we all operate in an incredible industry, but there are so many details, so many products, so many experiences that we just can't expect any advisor to completely grasp that. And that's where we want you to know that we're your partner in this. We're part of that relationship in helping make you shine, make your clients realize that you have access to us as these experts to bring these incredible products to life. And I'm completely dedicated to the trade channel. This isn't a direct push in any way. We're here to help and support you. So thank you. We really appreciate your support. We appreciate your partnership in CLIA. It's an important organization and industry to help drive the broader understanding in the space. So yeah. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's an absolute privilege to be here.
Wonderful seeing you, Tim, and thank you again for sharing all that information. And most thanks for supporting our advisors by doing these webinars and providing all the resources you guys do to them. So everyone have a great day, and we will see you all next time.
Thank you so much.